Hello, this is Diana. This is my Trailblazers of the Universe YouTube channel. On my channel, I'm helping you fearlessly and unapologetically live your best, most authentic life. I am helping you break through your barriers and transcend any limitations you may have. If that sounds good to you, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Today's video is based on a viewer question I had on my last Empath video, which is how to set boundaries as an empath. For us empaths, it is very important for us to set boundaries. We are highly sensitive. We feel as if other people's emotions, energy, and even problems are our own sometimes, because we're very intuitive and we can pick up on energy. A lot of us might even be healers or like to help people. And that's a great gift, to be highly sensitive and to be empathic in the world that we're living in. But it's so important to protect our energy. And if we don't protect our energy, we will feel drained. So some people feel bad setting boundaries because they want to be nice, they want to help people, they feel there's pain. But just remember that you can't give from an empty cup. And a lot of people will drain you if you allow them to. So for these 5 types of boundaries, we want to use discernment and our intuitive gifts to decide which applies to the situation we're in. So, what's the first type of boundary? Number 1 is, this sounds really simple, but this can be hard for a lot of empaths. Say no. And not just say no without over-explaining. It's okay to say no. Ralph Smart says in one of his videos, stop saying yes to other people when it's a no to yourself. And there's nothing wrong with helping and giving to people. I'm an empath as well, and I do that, but there are situations where I have to say no. Even though you're feeling bad about how they're going to feel when you say no, even if you're feeling uncomfortable, or even just saying no is like not in your nature, practice doing this with little things. And my thing is, I'm able to say no pretty well now, but it's over-explaining. And sometimes over-explaining can be a trauma response. It could be something with your childhood. Maybe you're yelled at a lot or didn't feel worthy. There's a lot of different things that could go on there. Why maybe we over-explain. Certain types of ways to say no that are nice but also stern, or just say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm sorry, that won't work for me. I can't make it. I appreciate the offer, but I would like to help. But fill in the blank, right? And I'm not saying fill in the blank with like an over elaborate answer. Just keep it short, saying no. You don't have to say because, but as an empath, you probably feel better saying the reason. If you're going to give a reason why you're saying no, or someone's asking, just keep it short to the point. We don't need to get into a whole like story why you can't do something. If someone can't respect your boundaries and someone doesn't take no for an answer, then that you should really sit back and question, what this person's intentions are, and are they really good for me? Anyone that's healthy for you, if you say no to them, they should respect that. You shouldn't really have to explain. If they ask why or whatever, it's cool, but if they keep asking, there's a time you can just step away and you just stop responding, It depends what kind of person you're dealing with. Number 2, the second type of boundary is ignore. I do this all the time. As my social media is growing, especially on Facebook, I have a pretty large following. I get a lot of messages, and there's a lot of people that want help, I give a lot of advice in my videos. I try to guide people through some pretty difficult times. Sometimes I just have to ignore. I don't respond at all. I don't need to give a response to everybody. It's okay to ignore people. Sometimes people are too toxic, or maybe you're just not in the right energy space, and it's okay. You don't have to respond right away. You don't have to text back right away. You don't have to message back, email back, DM back. You can ignore, prioritize your well-being. If you want to be of the most service to people as an empath, you have to make sure you're good first. Like I said, you can't get from an empty cup. So make sure that you're good. Maybe someone's messaging you and you just had a long, rough day and you're already feeling drained and you really need to do some self-care. You're just about to take a bubble bath. You're just about to go read a book. You're about to take a nap, and then someone messages you with some like crazy problem. Happens all the time to me. And, obviously if it's an emergency, then I take a look at that. A lot of times it's not. Some people, they just want a space to emotionally dump, and there's a difference between allowing people to emotionally dump on you and letting people vent. There's a difference, right? So if it's to the point where it's draining, it's becoming emotionally dumping, right? You want to hold space for somebody, and when you're in a good mental space, and you can't even give the best advice if you're not in a good mental space. So if I'm not in a good mood, I had a bad day, there's something really bothering me, maybe I'm emotionally unstable that day. We all have days where we feel off or something. It's okay to step away and not respond at all. And you maybe come back to it when you are feeling better, and then you'll be of more service and help people anyway when you're at a more grounded, stable space, right? So it's okay to ignore and respond back when you feel like it, or it's okay to not respond back at all. Number 3, block. Sometimes when people are too toxic, they are not respecting your boundaries. Maybe they're trying to attack you in some kind of way, like online or something. I've blocked a lot of people online. Even I shadow ban people on my YouTube channel that keep talking smack on my videos. I don't have time to give energy to all that. I use my discernment. One good thing about being an empath, you have discernment, you have intuition. What's it telling you about this person? Is this person good for me or not? What's your intuitive answer? Is this person toxic or not? Does this person have the best intentions? So we have to use that to our advantage. So there's situations where maybe someone didn't do something horrible, say something horrible to me, but I knew I had to block them. I didn't want them in my energy field at all. And that's okay. You don't need to explain to people why you're blocking them. If you feel a call to do that, fine. But sometimes you have to completely block people from your lives. That could include blocking numbers, changing your number if we need to. Especially if you're in an abusive situation. And of course, in those situations, go see a therapist, go get help as needed, or if it's an emergency, do what you have to do to make sure you're okay. Your safety is most important. Usually when my intuition was to block this person, I don't have any regrets. And for some reason, if you need to, you can unblock them. But remember, you blocked them for a reason. And I would suggest not to do that. Number 4, we have external boundaries and we have internal boundaries. Number 4 is external boundaries. So actually, you're communicating your boundary with somebody. This can be very hard for a lot of empaths. And this is best if you want to salvage the relationship with this person. Especially if it's a family member or friend we known for a while, and maybe they're saying something that's disrespectful, or they're not being respectful of your time or your energy, or they're saying something hurtful, or they're doing something you don't like, whatever the case may be, that makes you not feel good, that makes you feel uncomfortable, that maybe it's hurtful, and you want to start to have healthy relationships with people, and you don't want to block them, you don't want to ignore them, right? You want to keep them in your life, and maybe you see them worth salvaging the relationship with, and you see it could improve. You have to communicate your boundary. Hey, when you said this hurt me, and, I'm not going to put up with this any longer, or however you want to say it, or this isn't going to work for me. It doesn't always have to come off with an attitude, or mean. So you can communicate from a stable place. It's not a good time to communicate the boundary usually when you're angry, when you're emotionally unstable, when you're upset. Say it in a way that's going to be effective, right? In a way that's going to get the result you want. Solution-based, not problem-based. And not like attacking somebody. Sometimes it's better to walk away, take a break, and then come back when you're more grounded and stable so you can communicate effectively. Like I said, once again, if someone has a problem with the boundary you're communicating, you got to evaluate, use your discernment. Is that person meant to be in my life? Why does that person have a problem with me setting a boundary? So number 5, the last type of boundary is internal boundary. So the external, we're communicating it outwardly to somebody else, right? But this one is internal. It's within ourselves. So you're not expressing it verbally. For example, hey, I know if I go and do this, I'm going to feel this way, and this is going to stress me out, and I'm not really in the best place to deal with this person right now, or to do this thing right now. So you know what? I'm just not going to go. And you're not saying it to the other person. You're setting yourself up for success. I'm not going to stay here too long because it might be hard for me to leave, or to say no, or to do what I need to do for myself, right? Or it could even be like in your routines or patterns. It could just be like, hey, you know what? On Saturday, I'm going to rest more so I have more energy for the week. Or I'm going to spend some alone time instead of doing this. It's just kind of something that you're in your mind saying, like, I'm not going to do that. Or it could be something like, internally you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm not even going to respond to this person. And you're not even going to because, You know where it's going to go. You know what happened last time. Or you know how I made you feel. Or I'm just not even going to give the situation, whatever it is, energy and my attention. Because it's not worth it. It's going to drain me. So those are ways to set internal boundaries. So that's all I have for today. If you like this content, hit those like and subscribe buttons. I also have a Facebook group, Instagram, 2 podcasts, and a TikTok. My links are in my video description and in my channel description. I offer intuitive transformational coaching. So if you need intuitive guidance and motivation to support you on your healing, self-improvement, and or spiritual journey, my contact information is in this video description. Have a good day. Namaste.